Hello, everyone, and welcome to another XTIVIA live session, 7 Ways to Innovate Business Solutions with Lyn Tyrell. My name is Alex Killian. I'm the video producer and editor here on XTIVIA's marketing team. Before we jump into our live session this morning, I'd love to tell you just a little bit about our company. Since 1992, XTIVIA has established a proven reputation as a company that delivers leading-edge IT solutions and technology support for our clients' specific requirements, regardless of project complexity. Our service areas include mobile app development, BIDW, CRM, ERP, data management, web portal, digital experience design, and EIM services and solutions. And XTIVIA's success stems from a demonstrated ability to deliver deep expertise via professional services. We empower our clients to leverage their chosen technologies successfully, competitively, and profitably. And XTIVIA has offices in Colorado, New York, New Jersey, Missouri, Texas, and Virginia. Today, we will be hearing from Lyn Tyrell, the lead digital strategist for XTIVIA. Lynn has been creating experiences through content and copy in digital marketing and messaging since 1998. She's known for her unique perspective, her positive, empowering mindset, and her abilities as a high communicator to deliver significant value. She translates complex concepts into simple clarity for practical action. Lynn, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Oh gosh, it's always my pleasure and my privilege. So we are going to have some fun today. We're going to talk about how innovation can keep your company on its growing edge. So here's kind of the high line of what we're going to be talking about. Defining innovation, what does that mean? 7 ways you can innovate, the ingredients for innovation, how does your organization innovate, and then how to integrate business strategy with innovation, which is absolutely vital. So as you can see here, innovation is the process of applying an existing solution in a new way or creating a new solution to meet a new need. And either way, innovation adds value to the end user, and that's probably one of the big golden nuggets of what we're going to talk about. Innovation adds value to the end user. So I will also, by the way, confess in advance there are lots of words here, and that's because with such limited time, I try to give you as much as possible. And so I fill my presentations with as much as you can possibly see. So something I literally just saw this. A recent survey found 93% of enterprise-level executives think innovation is essential to their business, but only 34% believe they had a well-defined strategy in place. And you know, it's really interesting. We're good at seeing where innovation has occurred. You know, we can see the impact, but business structure does not often have a way to systematically innovate. And innovation is not just for startups, by the way. And in fact, established companies often have the advantage of resources when innovating. Just look at Microsoft with Xbox and Azure and SharePoint. I mean, it's just, you know, Coca-Cola, and there's all kinds of examples. But anyway, that's a tangent I just got going in my head. Let's talk about what is innovation. So the process of converting a concept into something that creates value for your customer is the basis for all business. Generating that concept in an imaginative way that distills greater or different value from existing or new resources yields positive change for your customers. That is what innovation is about. That is kind of a mouthful. It really is, I have to say. But generating the concept of value in a new or different or unexpected way, that is innovation. So the process of applying an existing solution in a new way or creating a new solution to meet a new need, either way, again, it's all about adding value to the end user. So let's talk about dynamic evolution. This is one of our first, you can go next. This is one of our first, Alex is driving here, just so you know. So if you hear me say that, that's what's going on. We're tag teaming it here because I just have so much to share that sometimes I forget to move forward, but he won't. So let's talk about this. Dynamic evolution is the first way, and this is the theory of constraints. I don't know if you've heard about what that means, but in manufacturing, there is the theory of constraints, which basically it's one way of continuous improvement. We're talking about, with the theory of constraints, we're talking about what is the limitation, what's the choke point, what's stalling or stopping flow. That is the thing that you want to find. Now, in the theory of constraints, you want to optimize that. You want to, figure out what can be done to get as much capacity from that constraint without undergoing expensive changes or upgrades. And then how can you subordinate everything else to allow that constraint to operate at maximum effectiveness? So really, you want to evaluate your overall system to see if the constraint has moved. Maybe you fix, from A to B to C, maybe you fix B and now it's, you've got to look at what's happening down the line. Maybe D is now the constraint, right? So if the original constraint gets eliminated, you just go right to repeating the process. So you also want to ask, how can you elevate the constraint to take whatever action is necessary to eliminate it? So I know we just jumped right into this, but this is all about how do you make incremental changes systematically to create innovation. So always through this process, you want to be aware of potential inertia, stagnancy, and comfort zones. Those are the three that are just going to get you. So this is one way to look at how to systematically evolve in a dynamic way what's going on in your organization, in your processes, your protocols, your workflows. Everything can be looked at from, okay, where's the limitation? How can we shift that? What do we need to do to support it? So, all right, let's talk next about radical transformation. This, here's some examples of radical transformation. These are like big breakthroughs. These are things that they're the game changers and industry disruptors and big deals. Google is known for this. They actually have an 80-20 policy where every employee spends 20% of their time on creative side projects. Gmail came out of that. AdSense came out of that. And I don't know if this is still true, but at one time I know that AdSense was like 20%. I don't know. We should do some research on that. But it's 20% of Google's annual revenues from AdSense. And this is from a little side project that was, that came out of this 80-20 thing. So, you can change whole industries. Look at what's happened now to online advertising just because of this, one project. So radical transformation is the game changer. Harvard Business Review, this is a great description of it. It focuses on long-term impact and may involve displacing current products, altering the relationship between customers and suppliers, and creating completely new product categories. When you've got a new product category that comes out of your innovation, that things change. They just do. So let's talk about the third kind of innovation, which is disruptive or deconstructive innovation. So this is where a new market and value network displaces the established marketplace leaders and replaces earlier technologies. So, and I put in here, I don't know if you guys have read the Blue Ocean Strategy. The Blue Ocean Strategy is a book that talks about how companies will compete on the same factors, price or product, or a lot of times it's price. And it creates this red ocean of carnage, basically, because everybody's like trying to feed on the same thing. The goal is you want to find uncontested blue ocean to sail. So, and Cirque du Soleil is one example of blue ocean strategy. So, in technology, many developers have had to sit and rework code to untangle a problem. And IT gifted people sit on the other end of the phone to answer help desk questions like, is it turned on? That's, my favorite. That's the one I'm always, guilty of. But marketers have to break down marketing campaigns to figure out why the results were not what was expected. What is the common denominator and all these things? Deconstruction. So really, there are times when breaking down the current issue or deconstructing it is necessary to get back on track again. Or in more extreme cases, deconstruction completely eradicates the existing structure to start over again from zero-based beginning. So one flavor of deconstruction is creative deconstruction. And creative deconstruction means taking the project, the process, or results apart with a fresh perspective that seeks new possibilities. I don't know if you know who Jack Roush is. If you're a NASCAR fan, you probably do. Jack Roush, he builds, he was a famous engine builder. Other NASCAR drivers come to him for his engines. And a reporter once asked him, what makes you so special? What makes your engine so special? He said, well, we put together the engine, we put it on the testing machine, we open it full throttle, and then we go and take a break. We go to get a coffee, get a lunch, whatever. We just let that thing go until it breaks. Then we come back in, we look at what's going on with it, we take it apart and we figure out what failed. Whatever the piece was that failed, maybe it was a piston ring or whatever, we build it bigger, better, faster, bolder, whatever, and then they repeat the process. And they keep trying to break their own engines. That's deconstructive innovation. And so from a digital enterprise point of view, that's the process of taking an experience apart for the purpose of adding greater value to the customer. The difference between deconstructive innovation and deconstruction is that deconstruction happens to solve a non-working issue or completely demolishes what was there to clear the way for something new. Deconstructive innovation seeks to leverage what exists to create something even better for the customer experience. So that is, that's all about disruptive or deconstructive innovation. Oh, and those are 4 questions, by the way. Ask those 4 questions. What needs to be eliminated? What needs to be reduced? What needs to be increased? And what needs to be innovated? That comes straight out of the Blue Ocean Strategy. You got to read that book. It's amazing. Okay, let's talk about discontinuous innovation. So this is where a new technology is applied to solve an existing need in a fresh way. So all of these are examples of how to do that. So, you know, one of the famous ones was, you know, the one in 1985. HP, Hewlett-Packard, was losing market share. So they had invented inkjet technology and they wanted to create a new paradigm. And when they did that, that drove dot matrix printers out of the market and made them the leader in the personal computer printer market. So, you know, you can do discontinuous innovation where you just go, okay, this is the innovation, stop everything else. So, and here's some more examples. And again, this is something where, you know what, I wanted you to have a lot of information so that you can go back and replay this if you want to go through and read all of these, because these are great. There's so many good examples out there. Okay, let's keep talking about next. We have number 5, open source innovation or crowdsource innovation. You know where this came from? This is fascinating. In the 17th century, Europe's 6 seafaring powers, try and say that 5 times fast, initiated a competition to find a precise way to navigate the oceans, a more accurate method of measuring time to find longitude. And this competition inspired the great minds of the time, Galileo, Christian Huygens, to come up with solutions to the dilemma. Well, the problem was ultimately solved later in the 18th century by an English clockmaker who claimed the prize for that competition. That's beside the point. The countless inventions inspired by that competition are still seen in timepieces today. And that was a very early form of open innovation where everybody was trying to compete. They were facilitating a challenge where multiple people can propose ideas to fix a general problem. So, you know, it obviously was different in the 17th century, but the idea is it's transparent utilization of external contributors to achieve a bigger good, you know, a bigger outcome. So, you know, and what are the benefits of open innovation? Well, really, it's about engaging larger audiences, having more relevant audiences, improving cost efficiencies, involving customers in the research and development, improving the brand value, the PR. You get good you get good karma. It's just good karma to share what's going on. You can get potentially very lucrative partnerships through this process. You can find new talent. I mean, there's so much that happens. And again, here's some great idea. You know, in 2006, Netflix launched an open innovation challenge called the Netflix Prize. It was open to anyone from the public, as long as they weren't affiliated with Netflix, of course. And the idea was to find a filtering algorithm to improve user, movie, or series suggestions by 10% compared to what was existing. And if they did it, they were offering a grand prize of $1 million. So in just over 1 year, 40,000 teams, more than 40,000 teams from 186 countries entered the competition. So in just under 3 years, 2 teams had found a way to improve suggestions by more than 10%, one of which, of course, won the grand prize. However, the prize, the winning team, their solution was too costly to engineer. So they actually went with one of the runner-ups instead and had an improvement rate of 8.43% in a cost-effective way. So ultimately, Netflix got what they wanted or came close to it. I think the reason that the winner didn't win was because of privacy concerns. So, and because of that, they've now chosen to hold back from having future competitions. But isn't that fascinating? I just loved it. This was just so much fun for me to, you know, I had no idea that that's where, you know, the 17th century, that's where crowdsourced innovation came from. Did you know that? Amazing. Okay, let's talk about number 6, engagement innovation. Engagement innovation, as you might suspect, is about creating holistic experiences through emotional engagement. And this is one methodology. It comes from Brian Solis of the Altimeter Group. It's called Digital Darwinism. And the idea is that consumer behavior evolves at the pace of society and technology, which might be faster than an organization's ability to adapt. And so those organizations that cannot adapt just will no longer exist. That's the Darwinism, right? So you want to become aware of where your organization is not adapting so that you can make changes to stay competitive. And so here's 9 questions that you can ask in your company to see where you are engaging, which I think is pretty fascinating. How else can you do it? Well, you can also take an outside-in approach. You can get into beginner's mind to see what your customer is seeing and then meet them there. You can develop regular channels of communication. You want to ask questions and share thoughts and ideas and invite feedback. You just want to dance with them just like you would, brainstorm or connect with friends. You want to make sure your customers know you value them, even in small things. Here's a good story. There is nothing that gets my goat like a phone system where I'm getting bounced around and put on hold only to hear, "We value you as a customer." Yeah, right. You wouldn't have me on this stupid system, right? And then to add insult to injury, you had to verify your income to even get onto the hold system. And then when the person comes on, then they have to verify you again. Oh my goodness. Show me you value me, right? Don't get me started. Okay, so another way is to focus on improving your systems and your protocols and your processes, your workflows through a customer-centric commitment. And what that means is you need to have a unified view of your customer. You need to know what's going on and wrap all your systems around your customer. If you don't have a unified view of your customer, by the way, because you need that in today's digital world, if you don't, call me, I can hook you up. So anyway, your unified view of the customer can show you where there are glitches in the matrix. When they bump into little barriers, you can see it. You want to synchronize your marketing, sales, and service or delivery systems around what your customer's experiencing so you can improve the processes which they're going through their journey with your brand on, right? So that was not maybe the most eloquent way to say it, but I think you got what I mean. Okay, let's talk about number 7, customer-led innovation. So customers expect industries to be innovative. It's the nature of business today. However, instead of trying to keep up with the competition, companies really should be trying to keep up with their customers. The dynamic conversations they're having, the emerging needs, the problems that are presenting as an effect of something else happening. And social media is obviously a go-to place for keeping your finger on the pulse of what's happening with your customers, but that's not the only place. Your customer service calls, your emails, the returns, online reviews, their buying patterns. If there's changes in their buying patterns, you want to watch your analytics and KPIs, your key performance indicators, to stay on top of what your customers need, want, and expect, so you can meet them in that place. That's customer-led innovation. So here's a couple of examples. Here's a couple questions to ask. Where are your customers giving you guidance about your company's next steps? What are your customers talking about that is creating a fresh opportunity for your company? You need to stay on top of these things. Okay, let's talk about, I know we are like flying through that time. So I apologize. I did not drink coffee, I have to say. Okay, let's talk about the ingredients for innovation. There are a few things that really need to happen. And this is my formula, so I don't know if it makes sense. It's kind of going to take you through a little journey here. But it's company leadership plus culture is first. So aspiration and imagination over leadership and culture, right? Aspiration and imagination have to be supported by leadership and culture to come up with great ideas. And then you put the ideas through context into the engine that puts them all together, and you give it fuel and resources, then you add a little bit of design, and then you add some process, and boom, there you go. Whoop, there it is, innovation delivered. So, to make this happen, it has to be okay to make mistakes. It has to be okay to question the status quo. That's the part of the culture, right? And of leadership, these things have to be okay in order to foster this magical new result that happens through innovation. So ideas are meaningless outside of context and action. The idea is literally just the beginning. From there, many different ingredients and influences shape the innovation. And it doesn't, this actually doesn't even really show that there is a testing process or working with the customer through research and development or, anything truly detailed, but you get the idea. You want to start with the vision, the aspiration, then add imagination supported by leadership and a positive growth culture to surface the idea. Maybe you want to establish an innovation committee. Maybe you want to do a Google 80/20 kind of thing. Maybe you want an annual day devoted to employees developing side projects on the job. I forget what company that was. That might have been Google too. I don't know. But you want to think about how you want to weave innovation into your culture. So that's the key. So let's talk about how your organization innovates. So innovating new solutions is usually unpredictable, it's chaotic, it could be frustrating as new considerations are surfaced in the process. And in those moments, it's just vital. You have to hold on to the bigger vision. It can also be helpful to consider how innovation has shown up in your organization previously. So to see how your organization has handled innovation in the past, think about these questions. Have new solutions emerged to meet needs in the moment or through more deliberate futuring? How has external tech shaped innovation in your company? How involved have your customers been in innovating new solutions? How often does your organization do an audit of needs as fodder, as fuel for potential innovation? And are you able to list the top 5 innovations that have occurred in the last 3 years in your company? And if you can do that, do it. And then share that list with your colleagues and your peers, other employees, to acknowledge the power of innovation in your company, because that can also not only inspire them, and say, yes, we've done that, but what else can we do? What's next, right? So now, of course, all this is great, but if you don't integrate your innovation with business strategy, it's not going to work so much. Let's talk about that. So ideally, business targets are known throughout the organization. Whatever your business targets are, that should be known throughout the organization. And that should then foster this culture of innovation, because in that case, innovators can align their actions to support those goals. So to facilitate collaboration around innovation, create a team that's dedicated to innovation. You want to have people from different business units and teams and departments all kind of working together, because that helps the innovation become blended into all aspects of your culture and give you different perspectives throughout the process. It can be absolutely invaluable to do something like that. So, in any organization, of course, resources are carefully allotted. Innovation, especially if it is not a planned innovation, has to be seen to either yield a return that is at least break even, kind of on par or greater than where the resources have already been allocated, or it has to go beyond in order to see that innovation come to actualization, right? So the more imminent, the closer the benefits, the more likely funds will be allocated toward that innovation. So if the innovation will produce results significant enough, it might be possible to secure additional funding, maybe through investors or other means, or whatever. But you have to be able to describe what the business benefits are going to be. You have to be strategic about it, right? So understanding how innovation investments in the past have affected your company, that can be a very helpful indicator about what's going to happen with current innovations. So all companies founded by an entrepreneur or a group of entrepreneurs who understand the risk balance in trying something new have been through this experience, but most managers have not, right? Managers are different than entrepreneurs. So either way, you have to sell, quote unquote, sell the innovation. And that can be challenging if it's bottom up, which is really common when frontline staff see the most action and therefore have the most opportunity to create change. You have to sell up, or, vice versa. You might have to disseminate that through the whole organization. And, the good news is that even if not all managers are naturally inclined to break the status quo and innovate, shareholders and boards and managers and leaders and executives, they're usually aligned on initiatives that provide a positive net value to the business, meaning growth. And when growth is an outcome, it's something that's going to get attention. So you can also look at what's going to happen if we don't innovate. So, opportunity cost works both ways, meaning there's a cost of taking the innovation and there's a cost of not pursuing the innovation, both ways. So an effective question to ask is, what if our competitor decided to do this and we didn't? Ouch, that can be a good ouch. So the answer to that question that's going to give you, potentially unexpected things to think about, right? So you can also just wait and see what happens if the innovation isn't adopted. It might be a little riskier if somebody else does it. So you want to present the innovation with a tangible vision and solid ROI, or return on investment. You want to make sure that there's long-term and short-term benefits. You want to have key performance indicators there. You want to ask for help from leadership and senior management to frame it in terms of goals, and also to get buy-in for the idea. So you might get, out of this, you might get all kinds of things, templates for workflows or resources or processes. The innovation has to have a way to transition the work needed to support it in a fast-track kind of way, or it might be not so viable by the time people get to it. So, and also once you put an innovation in play, you might find that unexpected challenges or opportunities or environmental issues or feedback from the market or whatever, things might come up that need to be accommodated. So just know that disruption of the status quo is a byproduct of innovation. Current workflows and operations may need to shift to accommodate this new innovation, so you have to be prepared to help your colleagues understand the benefits, communicate the quick wins, depict success in a powerful and vibrant way. And when this is all done well, you're going to potentially have significant change throughout the organization as that innovation becomes assimilated. So, look at a challenge from the right perspective in order to innovate. Disruptive tech can be an enabler of innovation, but it has to be embedded in a viable business model to be successful. So it's just really important that leadership has to have a clear strategy for innovation and creativity while still protecting the core business. That's just really important. So, okay, one more thing. I have to say, I'm proud to say that XTIVIA is known as a leader for supporting digital transformation. I don't know, I hope you guys like this wheel. I think it's kind of cool. This came out of my brain. I hope it makes sense. So the inner wheel is around process services that we help with. And that's really the technology, everything from the cloud and app development and APIs that make your stuff talk to each other, digital experience solutions, portals and intranets and websites and ERP for, enterprise resource planning, data strategy. If you don't have a data strategy, come on now, data is the lifeblood of your business, right? Well, these are the process services, and this is just kind of the high level view. If you want to get super uber techie, I can put you in touch with the right people. But then around that, in that outer wheel, we have what I call the people services. This is very, high tech, I guess. But it's like, tech is only a tool. It's the people that make the technology work, right? So do you need more training? Do you need the right number of licenses in your software? Do you need to, customize dashboard? Do you need marketing strategy and support? We can even help with that. We help with migrations. We can help you pick out the right software. We're tech agnostic. So whatever is going on for you, we are not attached. We just want to make sure you get the right solution for your needs, right? We'll even help you in terms of augmenting staff, helping you recruit staff. We do managed services for all kinds of things. Anyway, if you need any of this stuff, call me. So, so there you go. So let's explore all the intangible benefits of your innovation, because that is where the emotional engagement is going to come from. So let's talk about that. So know that when you have a commitment to consistent innovation, the organization lives on the leading edge and quite often becomes the industry leader as well. So, boom. Mic drop.
Awesome. So I think we've got time for one question that came in.
Oh,
how do we start adding innovation to our organizational plan?
So, yeah, the very first thing I would just always, as a default, I just go right back to, there's two places I would go, right to your customers. What are your customers looking for? What are they talking about? What are their needs? What's happening? And in that, I think one of the biggest issues that enterprises are facing is the whole MarTech stack. Something like you know, a report that I saw had something like 70,000 different applications that an enterprise can, you know, you have to be able to have all your stuff talk to each other. I think that's a big one. But anyway, look at what your customers are talking about, look at what the needs in the industry are, but then also look at what your employees are talking about, because your in-house users, they're on the front lines. They're, you know, they are really a microcosm for what's happening in the greater universe, number one. And number two, you want your people to be happy. People who are happy like to stay in their jobs. So those are two places I would look to see if there's any innovation that needs to be approached. And, you know, in that, in terms of your employees, somebody might have a great idea. So, you know, as long as you have the culture that supports breaking the status quo or questioning the status quo and supporting creativity, you're going to potentially have some really great things come out of your people, all your resources. So that's where I would start.
Awesome. We had one other question come in. How do we engage and involve our customers in this journey?
Oh, that's such a good question. So first thing, talk to them. Pick up the phone, call them, schedule a Zoom chat, a Skype chat, a meeting. The next time you're in town, take them out to dinner. Talk, have a conversation. So that's one. You can do one-on-one. Another thing you could do is actually pull together a little special R&D group, a little focus group. Hey, we're doing this, we're thinking about this. Or you could do little lunches, like VIP lunches or little dinners where you present, here's what's happening, here's where we're going, what do you think of our roadmap? Invite feedback. So smoke signals, send smoke signals, carrier pigeons, like whatever you need to do to connect with your customers, that's what you want to, and not just customers, by the way. You also want to talk to the people who are not necessarily using your services to find out why they're not using your services, right? So you really want to get as much information as you can from your immediate field. This is what this motion is. That's your immediate field. So you want to talk to people, have meetings, connect with them, and look and see what's going on. See what they're talking about on social media. See what's happening. If you can, stop by their business. Say hello, you know, take a little tour, meet the people behind the scenes. Whatever you can do to build those relationships, that's only going to help everyone win.
Well, Lynn, thank you so much. This was so much value in such a short amount of time. We really appreciate it. As a reminder, these XTIVIA live sessions are happening every fourth Thursday of the month, so make sure you tune in for the next one. And if you enjoyed this, please like the video, subscribe to our channel so you can keep up to date with all the stuff we're putting up. And thanks so much for joining us. Have a great Thursday, everybody.